first single. It was a single called New Song, and I wanted to give you a bit of sort of the background of what was going on at that time. And if you go back a bit slightly further to the end of the 70s, and I found myself at music college up in Manchester, and it was the Royal Northern College of Music. Now, it wasn't because I had a particular love for classical music. You know, my big thing was rock and roll and pop and everything like that. That was my passion. But my amazing sort of keyboard hero was a man called Keith Emerson, and he had studied classical piano. You know, he was a brilliant concert pianist and brought that into his rock work as well. So I thought I'm going to follow in his footsteps and get a really good grounding. You know, I played the piano since I was 7, so. You know, I scraped into the music college. They said I played Bach with a jazz swing, but so I was halfway through the course, and I thought, actually, you know, I'm fed up of playing dead people's music, and I need to be, you know, working on my own stuff now and doing my own thing. So I left college, which against all good advice from the family and everyone else. And I went back to live with my mum and dad and took the first job that anybody offered me, which was working in a saran wrap factory in High Wycombe. And so I was rolling saran wrap every day, perforating it into sort of 6-inch strips so you could wrap your sandwiches with it and things like that. And I had a great time working with the guys and the girls that worked there. You know, were wonderful people, and they became really good friends. But I did say to them, you know, one day I'm going to be walking out of here, and I won't be coming back because I've got to do my music. My music is the thing the only thing I think I'm really any good at. And so they said, you know, they're kind of humouring me. But anyway, all that time I was working on this idea, you know, one-man electronic band is what I thought would be a great idea, because there was nobody around that I wanted to sort of form a band with. I didn't know anybody in the area, so that was my excuse. Anyway, so I was very fortunate that all of those instruments were coming out at the time, you know, and you could get them in your local music store. And I went down up to London to Denmark Street and bought a Moog Prodigy, and for some reason, they sent me another one by mistake, and which I did pay for, by the way. And so I ended up with like one to play bass with and one to play, you know, lead lines with, and I had an 808 drum machine, and you know, I went out playing in the pubs and clubs with this idea, and it seemed to catch on with people. They sort of loved the new sound and the way that it was being done. It was very improvisational, and you know, could go in any direction. It was quite hard to control all that stuff in those days, but it was fun. And so we ended up taking people around the country with us, you know, because you couldn't just turn up somewhere and expect anybody to be there. Nobody would be there. You had to bring your audience with you. All the bands had to do that. And after 3 years of like doing, you know, about 300 or 400 shows, we finally got a residency up in London at the Marquee Club in Soho, and 4 Mondays in a row. And Monday's not a great night for you know, rock and roll gigs, but anyway, invited all the record companies down, all the publishers down, all the agents down, and they all did come, and they all rejected it. They all said, no, this isn't going to work. A one-man electronic band, you must be joking. You know, no hit records here, and so it you know, I mean, it didn't put me off at all. I got to say, it didn't put me off for a minute. And eventually, one man did get it, and his name was Paul Conroy, and he worked for Stiff Records, and Stiff Records had Elvis Costello, they had Nick Lowe, they had Madness, they had Kirsty MacColl, and you know, it was a really great label. I didn't think I particularly fitted in with it, but and I don't think the majority of Stiff people did either. But Paul Conroy was prepared to put his job and his life on the line for me, and he said, his classic line was, "We missed out on Depeche Mode. We're not going to miss out on Howard Jones." It only takes one person to believe in you, right? So I was going to sign with Stiff. and I was doing a gig at the Lyceum Ballroom in London one night, and that was the night I was going to sign it. And you know, I've been playing the piano since I was 7. I've been in bands since I was 14, and I was now 28 years old. So it'd been a long, ride to get to this point for my first record deal, and I was so excited about it. And then Paul Conroy bursts in the dressing room and says, "Don't sign it. Don't sign a deal." He says, "I've left Stiff Records and I'm going to Warner Brothers Records and I want you to come with me." So I ended up going to like the biggest label in the world, you know, and it was and so everyone was in agreement that the first single should be New Song, even though it's quite an inappropriate title. I don't know, very confusing. Could I have Howard Jones' New Song? And so it was produced by Colin Thurston, who'd done a lot of the early Duran stuff, and we'd done the video. We'd filmed it in the underground in London. It was great, and so single goes out and rockets into the charts at number 106, and looked like it's completely over, from the beginning. But somehow it clawed its way up the charts, like a couple of places every week, and after 8 weeks, it had got to number 44 in the chart. Now, we had a program at the time in the UK called Top of the Pops. It was a TV show that everyone watched. It was every Thursday night for years and years and years and decades, and everyone played it. From Bowie, the Stones, Def Leppard, heavy metal bands, pop bands, synth bands, reggae bands. Everyone played it. If you were in the top 10, top 20, because it's called Top of the Pops. So 44, doesn't really qualify for that program. I mean, sort of middle of the pops or low pops or no pops at all. And so I don't know what happened that particular week, but the stars were aligned in a certain way, and Duran Duran were probably in the West Indies or something, making a video. Spandau Ballet were into Australia doing a tour, so they had to keep going down the chart, lower and lower and lower to find anybody who could do it that week. It went down to 44, and so we did that show. It was very exciting to do it, and the single just took off from there. Everything took off from there. It ended up going to number 3 in the chart in the UK, and the album came in at number 1, and it was and I couldn't go anywhere in the United Kingdom. I couldn't go anywhere without being chased by at least 50 people, and that was quite a difficult thing to get to adjust to. But it was amazing. I'm not complaining at all. It was amazing to have that result. So I'm going to play that song now. And I'm also a really big fan of Breaking Bad. I don't know if you know that TV show. It's my favourite TV show of all time. And New Song is in Breaking Bad. Me and Walter. Me and Jesse. Cincinnati. quite true. I don't mind. I don't mind being hit and kill now and again. In the eyes of certain people. I don't